Once in a while, I see content that I just cannot let slide and I have to respond to it.
Who has the fastest leg swing speed ever recorded? If you guessed the world's fastest man, guess again, because Usain Bolt didn't swing his legs faster than this kid. It may sound crazy, but at top speed, the fastest athletes don't actually swing their legs faster than anyone else.
Yeah, it does sound crazy because it's utter nonsense. I can tell from what they're saying that the source is the study by Peter Weyand done in 2000. The key thing to understand is that in spite of this title of the study and in spite of what this video is claiming, they did not measure the speed of the leg swing in this study. What they did measure is air time between one foot contact and the next, and swing time, which is the time between one foot contact and the next contact on that same foot. Now, what they found is that there isn't a clear relationship between either of those two measurements and maximum velocity. However, that does not mean that air time and swing time are the same for every person. There is variation within the data. So even if the video said that Usain Bolt has the same swing time as this kid, you can't make that claim without getting the individual data on those two people, first of all. But that's not what the video said. The video said that Usain Bolt doesn't swing his legs faster. And that is just objectively false. Again, they did not measure limb speed in this study. We have more recent studies that looked into this topic, and they found that faster people tend to move their thigh through a larger range of motion during sprinting. And thus, even if they do that movement in a similar amount of time, they do achieve higher limb velocities. So it is inaccurate to say that faster people do not move their legs faster in the air.
From foot liftoff to landing, everyone takes roughly the same time to reposition their legs for the next step. This is true from Tyreek Hill to the world's fastest grandpas.
So here they're pointing out the similarity in swing time across people. And that is what the study claimed, but look at the data. Just because there isn't a relationship doesn't mean that everybody is the same. There's actually substantial variation between the different subjects in the study, like 25 to 30%. So can we really say that that's roughly the same? But most importantly, again, even if swing time is identical, that does not mean that the speed that you swing your legs in the air is identical. Those are different measurements.
So if speed isn't about moving your legs fast, what is it? It's about power and technique. Sprinters generate far more force with each stride, and they spend less time on the ground.
So now they're pointing out that ground force is actually the thing that separates faster and slower sprinting. And this I'm in full alignment with. I'm a big believer in ground force sort of being the point of intervention for faster sprinting, right? So we have all these measurements we can take, and we can identify all these things that are different in fast sprinting versus slow sprinting. And so then that kind of produces this chicken or egg question, right? Like, which one comes first, or like, how do we intervene to generate all these things? And I really think that your ability to apply force to the ground is kind of the answer to that question. Like that's sort of the source of all the changes that happen with faster sprinting. But still, as you sprint faster, you are going to have to move your legs faster in the air.
That's the difference. They get more out of every step. Here's how. The average person needs 50 to 55 strides to sprint 100 meters. Bolt only took 41. So for every 3 steps Bolt took, the average person needs 4 to cover the same ground. The good news? Improving your speed is easier than trying to move your legs faster. With the right technique, anyone can learn to generate more power and sprint faster.
They go from there to highlighting Bolt's stride length compared to an average person. And this is just kind of cherry picking data, or cherry picking one comparison in order to support the message of the video. So they kind of imply that higher ground force means longer stride length and thus faster speed. But fact is, higher ground force means less contact time, which means it can increase your stride rate as well. It can also decrease your swing time as well. Okay, that thing that they were saying was the same in everybody. And so there's just kind of a misunderstanding of physics going on here. Then, yeah, as far as the comparison with Bolt, I mean, yeah, he had really long strides in his world record 100 meter. I promise you he also had a higher stride rate than the average person. I promise you also had a higher limb velocity in the air than the average person during that sprint. Okay, so again, they're just kind of cherry picking something to try to make their point. Now, that comparison game is a dangerous one. They have data from that race, from Bolt's world record race, on him and Asafa Powell and Tyson Gay. And Tyson Gay actually applied greater ground force relative to body weight than Usain Bolt did, even though Bolt ran faster. So does that mean that lower ground force makes Bolt run faster? No, there's just a lot of factors that go into how fast somebody sprints. Key difference between him and Tyson Gay being their height, right? And so, yeah, that comparison game can mislead you. You really just you have to understand the physics behind things